How do I come to the conclusion that we could experience such a parabolic rise in 2025? $30. But now let's briefly talk about this looming correction. What's going on there? Come on, be honest, that was a food marathon. It's the second day of Christmas. You're probably lying on the couch completely stuffed thinking, yeah, okay, what should I do now? Well, maybe watch a new uptrend video. Especially if you're possibly an XRP investor, your eyes are probably going to light up right now. So how do I come to the conclusion that the price should reach $35 next year? However, there is possibly a not so small danger looming, and we'll get into that shortly. So let's dive right in. And with that said, we'll see you after the intro. By the way, just a little heads up. The Christmas tree you see behind me has indeed been sponsored by BitMEX for the last time today. However, since there are still a few little envelopes in the advent calendar, or rather, it's more like a mailbox, I can tell you that we'll keep going until it's empty. Of course, we'll also draw the winners today, and we'll open a new door or package as well. I just noticed that most of the people watching the videos haven't subscribed yet. We'll also draw the winners today, and we'll open a new door or package as well. I've just noticed that most of the people watching the videos haven't subscribed yet, so if you count yourself among them, feel free to catch up on that. And if you like the video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. It helps boost the algorithm a bit, and this stimulating effect could ensure that this video gets spread nicely. And with these reflective words, let's dive right in and see what's going on. Oh dear. Yes, I have to say, unlike yesterday when everything was green, today we see a lot of red. But folks, everything is in a relaxed environment. So today we're clearly focusing on XRP, and here we are down almost 5%. So we've definitely seen worse days. But now let's get to the forecast, starting with a technical chart analysis. You know, I don't really think too highly of that. However, it's worth mentioning that XRP, being one of the largest cryptocurrencies, has a significant volume, which in turn means that you can definitely apply some chart metrics. Anyone who paid a bit of attention in math should have recognized it. We're talking about a 4. No, of course, it's from a triangle. So, what's the deal with the triangle here? Well, from the chart metrics, if we quickly mark the highest highs and the lowest lows here, we come out with this pattern. And that's always an indication that if XRP manages to break through here, it could lead to a parabolic rise. The deepest lows are marked here, we come out in this pattern. And that is always an indication that if XRP manages to break through here, could result in a parabolic rise. This all logically stems from the fact that we are experiencing fewer price fluctuations, so this famous sideways movement that everyone talks about, we have lower highs and lower lows, or lower highs depending on how you want to describe it. And that's how it comes about. That's fact number 1, that we can say we're really close to a big breakout here. But that's not the only indication. Now, I just want to quickly mention, for those who know this tool, I really like using altfins for this kind of stuff because you can pull out chart patterns and you can also theoretically secure some coin tips here. However, I've also picked out XRP here, and the trend is bullish, which would further emphasize the whole thing. And here you have, for example, the complete analysis included, so the individual indicators, RSIs, and so on. You can also pull up the chart here. What stands out here is that the RSI itself is relatively low, which means an oversold price or an oversold market, and that can usually lead to the price rising. Unlike what happened here where the price actually went down, an oversold market can usually lead to the price rising, unlike what happened here where the price actually went down. So who knows? This was the case where the price also went down. So who knows? And here you can see the different options available which are geared towards trading. This is what I always say. Only realized profits are real profits. So please don't forget, take some profits and realize them in this whole game. That's the main problem where most people lose their money. And no, I'm not hating on XRP or any other currency, but please don't fall in love with it. That's exactly the difference. For example, with the institutional traders of Bitcoin, hey, for them, Bitcoin is an asset. It has nothing to do with them being head over heels in love with Bitcoin and saying, oh, I'll never let this go. No, that's not how it is. They are also ready to pull the emergency brake at some point. But now let's go back to altfins for a moment. If you're interested in this tool, you can test it out for free. Check out the description below. And if you're thinking, oh, I want to secure that, I negotiated a 50% bonus with the project. And if you want to make that clear to yourself, then let's take a look down there. Now let's get back to some more indicators. So far, we've been very bullish. The path to $30 is still quite a ways off. And now let's get to this article. Is it realistic that $30 can be reached in 2025? And indeed, there are some indications for that. So the first thing is the SEC lawsuit. I talked about it in the last Ripple video. Feel free to click here to check it out. That was also the point until January 15th, the SEC timeline. If they don't get their act together, or maybe dear Gary is already dozing off into retirement, then no, that's probably not going to happen, unfortunately. But okay, if that were the case and no appeal, etc. comes in, then we could really see an end to this lawsuit where Ripple wouldn't even have to pay a fine. So this, I think it was 105 million or something like that, comes in, then we could really see an end to this lawsuit where Ripple wouldn't even have to pay a fine. So I think it was 105 and 30 million or something like that. So it's going to be exciting to see if anything else comes up, especially if an appeal is filed. Fortunately, I can really picture that guy fighting until the last moment, even if he knows he's clearing out his desk tomorrow, but he won't back down. He also rejected the Solana ETFs. But okay, that's that. As I said, everything looks very crypto-friendly overall. Especially since it is important to note that Atkins is indeed a very strong contender to take over the SEC, which would mean he gets along quite well with Brad Garlinghouse. It's all pretty interesting how things can move. The next one is the stablecoin RLUSD. There was recently some news about that, and I can show you here, and that it's now also available in Asia. And especially Asia, we all know it, even if we all wish Europe were the center of the world, and no, unfortunately, it's not. We're clearly talking about Asia, and that makes the whole thing interesting. It's also interesting because since we have Asia in the mix, well, everyone can ask themselves what kind of reactions that could trigger. The overall market reacted very positively to that, and for me, that's another indication of how things might progress with the RLUSD. Because I completely disagree with everyone saying that it will replace USDT and USDC and so on. By the way, I made a separate video about the Mika topic and it went pretty viral. Feel free to click here. Definitely USDT. Okay, we can argue about that now. It seems to me that Tether isn't really interested in taking over the European market at all. USDC is Mika compliant and so is RLUSD. And at this point, just a quick note about Evercraft. We were the very first German channel to report on it, and we keep doing it. We also recently published an interview. Feel free to click here. This project of tokenization at the highest level, where you can see exactly how to work in compliance with Mika and so on, takes time, that's clear. But in the long run, it can really pay off. Now there's a new listing out with several exchanges that are now on board. I'm not giving too much away, but if you're interested in this topic, sustainable technologies are being tokenized and so on, there are many who have hated on it. There was even a hacker attack, and it was really a hacker attack, and the project handled it well. I would really take a look at it. I personally am a huge fan, both of the team and of what they've created. Now let's move on to the next bullish sign, and that's the XRP ETFs, which no one is really talking about anymore. Yeah, of course, they're still kind of hanging in the air here, and there have already been corresponding inquiries, like, for example, 21 shares, but there are others too. I'd have to check who else. I think Atkins. That's not really important right now. So definitely there are several that have submitted an application. You could also say here that it's probably because the SEC lawsuit is still ongoing. If that one is gone, it could naturally lead to an ETF coming faster. Whether it will be accepted by the market, well, we'll have to wait and see. All in all, Ripple is very much active in the institutional sector, which could mean that the reception is a bit different compared to, for example, with Ethereum, because Bitcoin is still the best seller. But that's that. Now, just a little addition to all of this, and it's really exciting. So Robinhood just recently listed XRP again, which triggered that first big pump upwards back then. Of course, because there are a lot of retailers involved, I reported on that back then. In any case, Robinhood now wants to take it a step further as they are currently buying Bitstamp, or rather they want to finalize the whole thing. And they're eager to work together with Ripple, which they had initially delisted and only just relisted about, 8 weeks ago, 12 weeks ago. Now they want to join forces to tap into a market worth several $1 trillion. Okay, that's pretty wild. So we're talking about a derivatives platform that is supposed to be available on the XRPL, that is on the ledger. 21. Definitely interesting because, by the way, I'm someone who always says, yeah, one is Ripple, the other is XRP, and what do I need XRP for? There I have a use case for XRP. And of course, when something like this is implemented where a lot of transactions go through the ledger, then it gets interesting. So feel free to read this article in detail, but then there is a real use case for XRP. And yes, then you can all think about it. Many transactions, you might be a Ripple holder, maybe even before. That could be interesting. But again, this is a topic that revolves around this ruling. And once that ruling is set aside, things could really move quickly. One thing we must not forget that the market is very volatile. We are in a bull run. And if we take a look at this now, well, calling XRP a rock in the storm is something we need to wait and see about. So you could say that till, let's say, 8 or 12 weeks ago, people were still referring to XRP as a stablecoin because nothing was happening at all. On the other hand, since that thing has risen, and I admit this openly, I could never have imagined that it would A, climb to the $2 mark so quickly, and B, then hold itself at that level cleanly. So we now have a very clear sideways movement. You could say there's a certain bottom formation happening here. So it's unlikely that this thing is going to completely fade away again, because I've read in the comments, yeah, it would be so great if it dropped back down to between 140 and 71. Sure, but why didn't you buy before? For example, I didn't buy, and I won't buy either. However, I would say that this thing is currently standing pretty solid. While other altcoins took a hit during the last correction when Bitcoin dropped significantly around 10 to 15%. You could say that other altcoins fell by about 30 to 50%, so that's a significantly different value. But just quickly before we get to the drawing of the giveaway, is this looming correction really that serious? So let's take a quick look at the tokenomics of XRP and realize that it's bullshit. Yeah, so that's not a big secret, except that apparently a burning mechanism for XRP has been activated through the stablecoin, which logically means that the whole thing is now deflationary. But if we take a quick look at this, we have a circulating supply and we have a total supply. There are still a few XRP missing from the market, which also means that the market cap is quite diluted. Now, the big problem behind it is that there's no mining or staking involved, rather, the company holds the XRP. Yes, before the haters come in, it doesn't mean that Ripple can just go ahead and say, I'll sell all the XRPs on the market. No, they do that with a certain system. That means we're talking about 1 billion tokens. That sounds really harsh at first, like, wow, they're planning to unlock them. Yeah, okay, if we continue with the text and set aside this whole thread, basically want to release 1 billion XRPs onto the market every month. Ripple says, of course, that this is for the health of the project and to keep the price stable. Others say, of course, inflation. That's clear. However, it's important to note that not necessarily all 1 billion XRP tokens will be sold, rather only the amount that the company needs at that time. So you can see here, for example, these 3 transactions that are planned. Now you can say that we're talking about 1.74% of the current circulating supply. That can definitely bring some movement. However, this trust system has been around for a while, and for example, it has often been the case. For example, 1 billion tokens were planned for 30 days, but only 200 million tokens were sold. And the remaining, so for those who can do the math, 800 million have gone into another trust system, which, for example, will be completely locked until 2027. So we shouldn't pay too much attention to all of this. Of course, that's a problem. There's definitely a risk that if more tokens come onto the market than are being bought, the price will drop. It's clear. However, the big question still remains, how much of that does Ripple actually want to sell? So, yeah, I personally think $30 is quite ambitious for next year, especially when you look at the resulting market cap. On the other hand, no one would have thought that Ripple would suddenly make such a comeback, especially when everyone was saying that a dinosaur like Hedera, oh yeah, they also came out really strong. And Solana, oh, they were also pumped somehow. Exactly, all these user dinosaurs suddenly came back. But XRP is definitely at the top. So at this point, I'm curious to hear what you think about this forecast. Is it realistic or is it not realistic? Feel free to write your thoughts in the comments. I'm really curious. Now we come to the drawing, and that's obviously a big deal. 160k Bitcoin in January. It even rhymes. So I would like to give the tip here that not many have looked into this yet, and we're not making any Moonboy predictions here. You know, I always take a very conservative approach to this. Feel free to take a look at it, form your own opinion, and leave a comment. Also, feel free to give a like. And now let's get to the drawing of the giveaway. Let's start the drawing. Congratulations, Thomas. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. K would be nice, yeah. We'll definitely do that. Now, you just don't know over what time frame. So I honestly think that Bitcoin could definitely break the K or even hit 1 million. The only question is when. But as I said, feel free to discuss this in the other video. Feel free to write under this video. And now we come to the new drawing. And for this, we'll start the lottery. Take a look here. We have a new envelope. By the way, BitMEX, as you've probably noticed, is a pretty cool exchange for trading. If you're into trading, well, you should check the description where you can secure a $25 trading bonus and at the same time fulfill the first part of the giveaway, because for that, you need to create an account. And if we take a look inside, we have a nice surprise. Let's organize this 170, which means you can secure 170 BitMEX tokens. All you have to do is leave a comment down below, and of course, feel free to give it a like. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe. Then you've completed the full program, and this video can go viral. Otherwise, we'll see each other tomorrow. Take some time to rest. And with that said, ciao. Otherwise, we'll see each other tomorrow. Take some time to rest. And with that said, ciao.